Hey Bill, I was just doing some research with the IB benchmarking tool in Cisco Ready. Check out this network age report on the DFW airport. It shows me that DFW refreshes their infrastructure much more often than their peers. We can use this to show them why they should go with Cisco One on their next upgrade. Their 5-year strategic plan tells us they're looking for new revenue streams on parking. Put these together and we can do Cisco One under the banner of making money for the airport. So here's what I think. Based on our internal data on their purchases and what I know about their business goals, we should include discussion on making money with the wireless network upgrade coupled with CMX. Why CMX? That'll allow us to deliver to them business analytics. That's information the airport doesn't have right now, and only the most forward-thinking staff are even thinking in those terms right now.
I'm Steve Smith. I'm the IT director for the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport.
So Steve and Kim, thank you very much for the opportunity to come and talk to DFW Airport today. I know the initial construct of the conversation was really talking about some network refresh, but we wanted to move into a higher level conversation and really talk about how we can change the customer experience and really put DFW on the map as it relates to one of the best airports in the world with regards to overall customer experience. But before we do, I'd like to spend some time and let's talk about the business objectives. So when we profile those, first thing we're going to say is connecting the world, best in the world, right? It's not about being an airport, it's about being a global hub and how DFW can really become that premier venue. Creating new revenue streams. So DFW Airport is having challenges in maintaining revenue streams, particularly out of things like parking. We'll talk about how you can drive new revenue opportunities. Delightful, best-in-class customer experience. So again, from an end-to-end journey perspective, when I move from my home into my car, into the airport, onto the plane, how can I really provide a best-in-class customer experience? So let's talk about the DFW Airport challenges. So again, we're going to tie this back. Diminished revenue stream, and we talked about this, right? So parking represents the number 2 revenue opportunity for DFW Airport, but it's being commoditized by some degree through Uber, Dart, and other transportation. So how can we drive increased revenue stream? Resource optimization. How can I make sure I've got the right resource from DFW Airport in the right place at the right time? Again, so these could be TSA agents, they could be wheelchairs, they could be sky caps, based maybe on traffic patterns of individuals that are in the airport, in particular density of those individuals. Provide a differentiated and personalized customer experience. So one of the things I noticed is when you look at the DFW app, which I have on my smartphone, it's a static app. Here's the app we discussed earlier again, and how can we take that app and provide contextual awareness? Where am I in the airport? What am I adjacent to? And so how can I move this from a static, no context environment to an environment where that application understands who I am and where I am physically in the airport and provide intelligence? How can I take the existing environment that I have today, which is on Cisco Wireless, that doesn't provide that context, and by overlaying specific application capability, provide that personalized experience, right? So again, I feel like DFW knows me as an individual, as a traveler. So let's look through some of the what ifs. So what if I know who you are and where you are in the airport, and I could offer you a coupon to visit a nearby restaurant? That compels me to move to that restaurant, and now I could derive a revenue sharing model, or perhaps provide a higher premium rental for that particular concessionaire that's in that airport. Next postulation, what if I can advise a passenger what the TSA wait times are as they ingress the airport. I can localize that information basically through the intelligence and the analytics that we have. So now when I come into the airport, I can move through the airport at a very rapid fashion. Thirdly, what if? What if I could deploy the right airport resources? So again, based on density, because I know, again, based on the density of individuals that are being tracked by the access points that are in the environment, I can ensure I've got the right resources, airport staff, TSA agents. What if you could leverage a number of existing investments that you've already deployed? So again, we know that putting infrastructure on a secured side of the airport is challenging. We will help to leverage and optimize that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when Neville goes through more of the technical overlay of the conversation. So how do we do this? So we integrate Cisco CMX and location analytics on top of the infrastructure that you have, maybe with some increased functionality, and we're going to move into more conversation and whiteboard exactly how that happens here in just a moment. So Steve, Kim, just wanted to kind of highlight a little bit more after we kind of talked about some of the what ifs, right? So here's a diagram of, pretty prototypical airport terminal. So you can see we've got the terminal itself. Here's wireless access points that kind of exist. And these could be existing wireless access points or maybe some enhancements to these, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Here's the concessionaires that sit here, right, with all of the different concession rental space. Here's our TSA ingress, egress checkpoints that sit here. And of course, here's all the passengers basically that are ingressing, coming through the airport on the TSA checkpoint. So take, for example, I've got a passenger who's got this interactive application. So now I know that this passenger is in the airport, they're getting ready to come through the TSA lines. I can provide to them real-time analytics of where they should ingress, where are the shorter queues in TSA checkpoints to allow them to move through. Once they get on the secured side of the airport, for example, I know that this individual is adjacent to this concession because I can locate and triangulate that individual based on his adjacency to these access points, and now be able to push a coupon, for example, to that individual and create that brand loyalty, and again, maybe a revenue sharing opportunity with this concessionaire. Lastly, I've got, let's say there's a lot of individuals that consistently dwell within this area. Again, I get those analytics based on location information from these access points, and I know that this particular area gets a high volume of traffic during certain hours. Maybe I could say, you know what, for the concessionaire that's in this particular area, I want to be able to charge that individual a premium for that real estate because of the volume of traffic that's there. So again, just some ideas about revenue sharing, operational improvement, et cetera, that we can provide for DFW Airport. So we're going to switch to a short clip that, and then Neville's going to move into what we think is a very compelling demo for you. Thank you.
Hundreds missed their flights on Sunday because of understaffed TSA checkpoints and very long lines. Increasingly long waits at security checkpoints across the country have caused tens of thousands to miss flights this year. NBC's Blake McCoy has new developments in this unfolding crisis.
Thanks, Bill. Hello, Steve and Kim. Thank you for being Cisco customers. We truly appreciate it. I am Neville. I'm the account systems engineer for you at DFW Airport. So this is a picture of the infrastructure at a high level. In blue, I've drawn your existing infrastructure. Here we have your existing wireless LAN controllers. This is what you currently use at the airport to provide your Wi-Fi coverage in the airport. These controllers connect out to the wireless access points throughout the airport terminals. As Bill mentioned, these controllers are fine. We can run CMX and MSE right on top of them. We don't have to replace them. And that's what I'm showing in the green here. Green is proposed technology for you. CMX is easy to get started with, and what you'll find as you use it and start to realize and love what CMX can do for you, you'll want more coverage in different parts of the airport. We can then add a new generation of APs that have integrated Bluetooth beacons that get location services down to 1 meter. Much more granular than what you can do right now in your second generation APs. We call the new APs hyperlocation APs. As for raw speeds, an order of magnitude, a full 10x increase in the wireless speeds associated with your network. You can also take advantage of Cisco One as you make your purchases. Cisco One will allow you to port your wireless licensing to any new generation of APs we may come out with in the coming years, a built-in investment protection path to utilize that 4th generation AP whenever it comes out, so you're never behind the technology curve. To handle the new speeds in the network, I have mGig, here from Cisco Meraki or from Cisco Catalyst, your preference, to drive that 10x higher speeds in the wireless network. Both the new APs and the existing wireless LAN controllers can work together. Here you see an existing LAN controller connected to a new AP. It all works seamlessly. As you refresh infrastructure, what you'll see is an improvement of report accuracy. You don't change your reports or the way you consume the analytics. These analytics are then exposed to various dashboards through APIs that you can interface from your DFW iPhone app. Next, let's show you a live demo of CMX.
Let's start by logging into the CMX system. At the outset, you see 3 services on the top blue ribbon that you can interact with: Detect and Locate, Analytics, and Connect and Engage. We're going to start with the Detect and Locate service, which gives a map view of all our wireless coverage and currently active Wi-Fi users. The demo data we have here is for a national retailer with stores in major US cities. Let's drill into the New York location and see who's in the store now. First, I'll overlay the areas of our store on the map. A new term to our vocabulary is going to be footfall. Footfall is the number of people that walk into a targeted area in the store. So let's see who's in the store right now. First, I'll turn on the dots for each individual client. These appear in light pink. The first question people ask is, are these dots only for people's phones that are connected to my guest Wi-Fi? And the answer to that is no. The system will detect all phones passively as they listen to your Wi-Fi beaconing. The map is designed not to overwhelm you with pink data points. DFW will have tens of thousands of people in the airport at any given time. A giant pink blob would not be meaningful for you. So we grouped this with some intelligence with our heat map. I'll turn the heat map filter on, and you can quickly see at this instant people are congregating around men's clothing and the food court. We can now start to pose some questions that we can answer with analytics, such as, how does my footfall in women's clothing today compare to Monday last week? You can imagine taking this a step further. Say you ran an ad campaign for women's clothing on social media, but you notice sales data is unchanged. Was the advertising successful? You can look at the footfall data, and if you can point to an increase in footfall, but no increase in buying, then you have something to take back to the product people, saying advertising is doing its job, however the consumers are rejecting the product. That's an example of a digitally defined company, in this case, a digitally defined retailer. So now let's switch to analytics. The first report you're going to see is for footfall around TSA locations. We're going to define each TSA checkpoint as an area in the map and then simply keep a running total footfall for each location. We can publish then both the number of people at all checkpoints and also how long it takes people to clear the line. That data can be used by your people to staff checkpoints, and it can be published to your iPhone app so flyers can consume that info. There's no estimation here or handing red cards to random passengers at the back of the line to determine wait times. This is all computed in real time. That's a digitally defined airport. To show an example of that in our store environment, we're showing a report on footfall per hour for a specific zone. Here on the left you see unique devices, and along the bottom from noon to 11 p.m. You see in this zone both how many people were at each checkpoint and the amount of time those people spent in the checkpoint before leaving. You can then compare this report to a previous date to see how your line queuing is changing over time. In this screen we're showing people in the sports area and where they go next after visiting the sports area. Here you see that 4,000 people were in the sports area yesterday, and of those, 99% of them also visited furniture directly after leaving sports. So you can begin to make a marketing flow. We also have the ability to test a change. Let's say you create a new layout and you want to see how footfall and dwell time are impacted. Here you can see a report that does just that. Finally, the Connect and Engage allows me to offer Wi-Fi to people in the airport and integrates with Facebook for login. You can pull reports down to the individual Facebook user level, where they entered, what they did while inside, and where and when they exited. Very powerful stuff. What this gives the airport is it transforms the dots on those heat maps and reports from generic MAC addresses to actual names and real people that I can then understand how often they come and what drives them. Taken all together with the other dashboards, this becomes a very powerful system, and you can simply overlay it over your existing wireless now. I'll turn it back to Bill to wrap up.
Neville, thanks for an amazing demo. Really good job.
You're welcome.
Steve, Kim, we really appreciate your time. We talked about the possibility of providing location analytics inside the airport. We talked about the airport understanding where individuals are. We talked about users understanding where they are in the airport and how we can drive better outcomes to both parties with data analytics. We talked about how this relates to TSA security lines. We talked about how this data is valuable to concession shops and how DFW Airport can generate new revenue streams to replace lost parking revenue with concession revenue sharing models, but all using the DFW app. As discussed, these upgrades will really change the overall customer experience and provides a unique set of capabilities. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to partnering with DFW Airport.
Yeah, thanks. This is exactly what we need. I never thought about our wireless from that perspective. Let's get started.
That'll work.
All right. Cut, wrap.
Cut, wrap.